Hey everybody, it's Tom with Path to Billions, helping you find a path towards financial freedom and a better life. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about expiration dates for Amazon FBA. Now I'm going to be specifically talking about grocery items because personally I don't send in a lot of cosmetics or nutritional goods, and those require some extra rules. For instance, if you send in a 120-day supply of vitamins, you have to consider that 120 days within your expiration date period. So, one of the biggest rules that applies to all items that have expiration dates is you cannot send in an item that has less than 105 days left on expiration. Amazon will straight up not let you send it in, and I can show you that a little bit more later in the video. So basically what that means is if you send in a shipment on January 1st of this year, that item cannot expire sooner than April 15th of this year. Now, one of the things Amazon does to try and help prevent items that are already expired from going to customers is they have a 50-day window. So the last 50 days of an expiration period, the item should be disposed of by Amazon. Now the reason I say should be is because are we really going to think Amazon's going to keep track of every single expiration date in every single one of the facilities? Probably not. So one of the things they actually ask you to do to help them with this is they ask you to put a small label on your item that has an expiration date in 36-point font. And one of the biggest reasons I think they ask you to do this, because if a customer buys that item and somebody at Amazon goes to pick it and pack it, when they pick up the item and they look at it, they can see the expiration date is within that window and they could decide to dispose of it instead of sending it to the customer. Now, that's not a perfect system. They might not see it, they might not care. So I recommend actually keeping track of all your expiration dates yourself. Keep an Excel sheet with the shipment you're sending in, what items are on that shipment, and the expiration dates of those items in that shipment, just so you can keep track yourself, and if anything gets too close to that expiration date, you could just pull it yourself. Personally, one of the things I do to avoid any problems is I actually make sure my expiration date is not for another 6 months or more when I am buying items, and just gives me plenty of time, because you have to consider you have to buy the item, you have to ship it in, it has to get received in Amazon, it eventually has to sell, and then eventually the customer has to buy it. So there is a big time window. You just want to make sure you have as much time as possible to make sure there are no issues with the expiration dates. The second rule that applies to pretty much all expiration dates is you cannot commingle them. Meaning, if you send in one box to Amazon, that one box can only have one expiration date per ASIN. So if you send in, say, brownies, that brownie can only have one expiration date for all the brownies you send in. If you have another product, say cookies, that cookie can have a different expiration date than the brownies, but the brownies can only have one expiration date and the cookies can only have one expiration date. Now, I'm going to show you an actual example of what this means, so that way you can see physically what I mean by this. So this is an example of commingling that I was talking about. You can see there's 3 different expiration dates. Excuse the sloppy handwriting. You have April 1st, May 1st, and June 1st. Now let's say these 2 boxes are going to California and this one's going to Texas. You can see this shipment has 2 different expiration dates, but it's 2 boxes. Now it's always per box for expiration dates and not per shipment. So you can have as many expiration dates going to one location, you just have to split them up into 2 different boxes. So you have to keep this in mind when you are sending these in, is how many boxes you would normally send into one location. So you can see 2 boxes, 2 separate expiration dates, perfectly fine. And then 1 over here. So this is exactly how it should be done. Now you run into the issue because Amazon tells you how many items to send to which locations. So for some reason Amazon tells you to send 3 to this location. You could take 1 away and you'd have 3. Problem is now you have this extra one. You can't send it over here because it wouldn't match with these expiration dates. So you can actually do a little bit of finagling when you get onto the computer, and I can show you that later on. The other thing I was mentioning is bundles. So for instance, if you take this 2-pack and you put it in a bundle, this is fine because they're both expiration dates, the same expiration date. Now, if for some reason you bought these 3 and this one, and you made a 4-pack, it wouldn't work because there's 2 different expiration dates. So when you put this in, it wouldn't work. Now, the other thing you have to do, what I was mentioning earlier with a 36-point font label, is if you put all 4 of these into this pack, you need to make sure you put the expiration date on the outside, along with the Amazon label. Amazon label and the expiration label should be on the outside of your pack and not on the inside. So next we'll jump onto the computer and I'll show you some more stuff. I'm going to start off on Inventory Live for anybody that is watching us that has it. Personally, I don't actually finish my shipments on Inventory Lab, and the reason is Inventory Lab likes to split my shipments into like 10 different locations, whereas doing it on Amazon, it only splits into about 3. So I'll show you what I do for Inventory Lab and how to get it over to Amazon, and then we'll go there and put in the actual expiration dates. So once you scan an item in, I just scanned a book I'm currently reading. You'll go down to this section that says expiration, click the little eye, click the calendar, and then you just put in whatever date. It's really simple. However, if you're like me and you're not going to be doing the shipments through Inventory Lab, you go over here, you hit, normally says add the batch, hit save, and then you go down here to review batch, and then once you review it, you'll hit submit, and this is where you want to make a slight change. You want to uncheck create FBA shipment, and then hit OK. If you don't uncheck that, it'll send the shipment over there and create the shipment for you, which will still have the splits like I have. And then you go over here to export, and then hit shipping plan file, hit OK. You'll see it download. Then you're going to come over here to Seller Central, and you'll come to this page. To get here, all you have to do is go to hover over inventory, manage FBA shipments, and it'll come up under shipping queue, and then just go over to the right and hit upload shipping plan. Then you go to the second one, you choose the file that you just downloaded from Inventory Lab, hit upload, and Inventory Lab recommends up to 30 minutes to make sure everything switches over. I do about 100 to 150 items per shipment, and mine doesn't take more than 5 minutes, but it's better safe than sorry, I guess. So then we're going to go over to actual shipment, show you how to add expiration dates and how to fix what I was mentioning earlier, where sometimes Amazon doesn't send the exact amount of items per expiration date to the right locations. So we'll start off with that. Over here you can hit review and modify units, and this is all going to be blurred out for you guys, but you'll see how many items I have of each over here. And so for instance, this one has an expiration date. If for some reason the numbers weren't matching like I showed earlier, as Amazon tells you how many items to send to which locations. So for some reason Amazon tells you to send 3 to this location, you could take 1 away and you'd have 3. Problem is now you have this extra one. You can't send it over here because it wouldn't match with these expiration dates. You could actually just change it here. Now Amazon's rules are 5% or 6 units, whichever is greater. So if you're going from like 5 to 6 or 4 to 6 items, it's not going to cause any big issues. But you do want to keep that in mind. You can't just go from like 1 unit to like 30. That will cause issues. And that's all you have to do here. And then you scroll up, hit hide units, and it saves it. Then we're going to scroll down here, and you see I have more than 1 SKU per box because I am sending in 3 boxes on the shipment. Sometimes Amazon glitches and it won't give you any of these options, or only give you 1 option. And if you have any issues with this page on Amazon, just go back to Seller Central Home and then come back to shipment and it'll fix it. The very first shipment I ever did, it had this issue, and I was trying to send in 2 boxes, and it kept trying to tell me to send each item in its own box. I finally figured it out later on, but it's a pain. So if you have any issues with this, just go back to the Seller Central homepage, come back into it, and it should work. Now I'm going to show you how to actually add expiration dates, and I'm going to give this example right here because I have 3 different expiration dates for 3 different boxes. So I'm going to hit add another, and then all I do is click here, brings up a calendar. I do the year first. So this one is 2021, expires in August, and then it expires on the 8th. And then however many are in the box. So this one is 12, and then you just do that again. Go to 22nd, January, and 9th. Now on this one, the reason I do the year first is you'll see the very first date that comes available is July 18th, 2019. And this goes back to the 105 days that I was talking about. Amazon will not let you send in anything under 105 days. So you got to make sure you have that time period. And I do year first because, like the last one was January, I can't even go to January in 2019. So I do the year first to make sure I get all the months available. This one is 2021. And then now all the months are available because it's a different year. Then I'll go to September 13th. In this box there's 6 of them. And in this box there's 2 of them. And that's it to add expiration dates on this. And you can also see, again, because it's going to be blurred, but this is a food item that doesn't have an expiration date. And then some of these other ones are food items that don't have expiration dates. I don't know why Amazon doesn't require expiration dates on some food items and some they do. I'm not going to complain because it's less work. The only time I complained was when I had a non-food item that required an expiration date for some reason. But other than that, that is how you put expiration dates in. If you enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful, please drop a like. Drop a comment if you have any questions about this or any other topics on Amazon. I'll be glad to make a video about it in the future. And hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one.